Hi, thank you for being here. I'm Joan, and I have kind of been wanting to do other videos rather than just the wrap-ups. I know we're making a lot of changes, but I figured why not just go ahead and do a mid-year reflection video on what we have read so far. And getting straight into it, the best books that I have read this year is going to be Song of Solomon and The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, duh. Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin, and Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, another duh. There's also the last two books of the Sabaa Tahir Ember in the Ashes series on here. Those, we're not even gonna worry about them. It's part of a series. Whatever. So there were a couple more books on my 5-star list that aren't part of my favorite books of the year, and so I want my 5 stars to just reflect what my favorite books are. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and kind of lower them a little bit. The first one that is not making the cut is The Safekeep by Yael van der Wooden. And this is just because after I recommended this to one of my friends and we were talking about it, I just can't suspend my disbelief about how the ending went about. And so, obviously, spoilers, but conflict between Eva and Isabel is really stretched because Isabel doesn't read the rest of Eva's diary. She just reads that one part, which causes the conflict, and then after several months, decides to go back and read the rest of it. And that kind of just annoyed me a little bit. Didn't feel 5-star material. I still really liked it, so it's still going to be a 4.5, but it's not going to be in my favorites of the year category. The other one getting bonked is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. It's a great book, and more than likely, for me, it's because it's YA. Not to say that YA is not good or useful for adults. Just personally, it doesn't feel like my favorite book of the year. It was good, but I just don't feel myself thinking about it or remembering about it in the day-to-day. So it's also going to be a 4.5, which is not bad. It is still a good rating. So those are the only ones that I'm moving from a 5-star to a 4.5. And if you're mad at me, why does it matter? Now, going to books that I just kind of want to fix it a little bit. The Lamb by Lucy Rose. A 3.5 felt too generous because I did not have as much fun with that book as I did with Patricia Wants to Cuddle. So that one is going to go to a 3 because I was disappointed in that one. I really don't want to read it again. Even though that one cover is gorgeous, I didn't buy that one. I might gift it or something later. Everything else feels right to me right now. Of course, we're going to go over this again at the end of the year, but at the very, very bottom is The Bone Hacker. I still hate it, and if I could rate it 0 stars, I would have. It is going to stay at the 0.25 on Fable, only because, I guess, it didn't put me into a reading slump. Now that the alterations have been made, let's go ahead and get into what I'm going to be planning on loosely reading for the rest of the year. So the only required materials that I have is that I have to read 40 books. Have to is a strong word. I want to read 40 books. And out of those 40, I want at least 5 of them to be nonfiction because I do not read nonfiction books. I have read 2 this year so far. The first one was 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo, and that was my first book of the year. I did really enjoy it. I read somewhere that Taddeo had spent a lot of time with these women and interviewing people from the town to make sure that the stories were right, and even lived in some of the towns for a period of her life. And I really like how she was able to bring these very real women to life on the page with her writing style, especially because they were also very distinct from one another in their tones and voices. The other one that I read is George M. Johnson's memoir, All Boys Aren't Blue, where they talk over their experiences with queerness and how it shaped them. as a person in the Black community, and it was so raw and beautiful, and you could really feel how much they love their family in the way that they're written. And the audiobook is read by them as well, which gives it just so much more of a personal touch. It is also one of the first memoirs that I've ever read on Goodness. So just as a general rule, I don't rate nonfiction. It just doesn't feel right for me to judge someone else's life story or whatever they're talking about, where they know, hopefully, what they're talking about, considering it's nonfiction. But I do have another nonfiction hold on Libby right now. It's the Let Them theory. I don't entirely remember who it's by right now, but I've never really reached for self-help books. I know that my work, we had a book club. I'm saying had because everyone stopped reading it because it was a self-help book. They had given us The Mountain Is You, and I started reading at the chapter that they were on, and I just couldn't do it. But I have heard good things about this one, so I'm hoping that it goes a lot better. Of course, once I actually get it on Libby. Alright, so the Let Them theory is by Mel Robbins. I saw that when I was looking on Libby. I started at 1773 and I'm currently in place 898 with 228 copies on that book. I should be getting it in hopefully the next 2 months, and you'll hear if I was actually able to finish it whenever that happens. So after that one, I need 2 more nonfiction books. I think Everything is Tuberculosis is one, and I also have We Need Your Art on there. I'm still kind of if I might read that one, but I might as well place it on hold just in case. But I am probably just going to go to the library and maybe do a little library vlog and see what kind of nonfiction books we have and if anything catches my eye there. But if you have any suggestions, just leave it down in the comments because I definitely need some. There's only 3 left though, so it's really not that bad and we have plenty of time. Other than those, I have a loose list of ideas of books that I want to read this year. One of them is Little Women because I read Pride and Prejudice either last year or the year before, and I really liked that. It was so good, and it was a lot easier to read than I thought it was going to be, especially after I got past the first couple of chapters. And I almost felt sad that I was going to a more modern book after I had finished that one. So I'm hoping to have kind of the same experience with Little Women because I do have classics that I've read and that I've liked from school. I just want to be more rounded in that area. So I'm excited. And then I have a few other picks. I have The Bogwife by Kay Chronister. I picked this one up from the store from its alluring title, and the cover's pretty cute too. This one gives me sort of the same vibes as that Supernatural episode. It's in the first season. It's like it's the third, The Scarecrow. It reminds me of that because it is about a family that has to sacrifice their patriarch in order for the bog to give them a bog wife to carry on the family line. I think it's just a family. I don't think there's anyone else, but the premise of the book is that one year they don't receive a wife, and each family member has a very different way that they think will fix it. I have very high expectations for this book. I'm wanting to get to it pretty soon. I'm kind of scared to be disappointed though, because I also had the same feelings about The Lamb, and you saw how that one went. We'll get there when we get there. Then I want to read Orlando by Jacqueline Hartman so bad. I Who Have Never Known Men was one of my 6-star books from last year. It was so good. I recommend it to everyone. I have 2 people who really, really like it that I had recommended it to, so I got to talk to them about it, and that was fun. Like, me and my sister will just be in the middle of a conversation, and then we're like, you ever think about such and such? And we don't even have to reference where it's from, and then we'll talk about it for a minute, and then we go on. It's so fun. I love stuff like that. I have been wanting to read Orlando. I keep looking online to try and find it because it's out of print, but I saw per Google that they're doing a reprint for the 30th year anniversary. I'm going to try and find a picture of the cover for you to see, and it's supposed to come out September 9th, if I'm remembering right, so I will be getting a copy. I don't know if I like this cover more than the original cover though, because it just has that, it just looks good. It just looks good. I have been seriously considering learning French to be able to read her other books. Me and my husband are trying to decide what we want to learn together right now. I'm not gonna lie, it is a strong contender for me. Then I placed a hold on Project Hail Mary on February 13th of this year, and it's still saying that I have several months to wait to read it. And I went and I looked, and I started 18th, and now I'm 7th, and they have 8 copies. I want to read this so bad. It's really building my anticipation for it, because one thing that I've been wanting to be more in control of is buying books to read them when I can read them from the library, and then if I really, really like them, I can put them on my shelf. That obviously doesn't include like what I find on Thrift or when I get a gift card. That does not happen as often as it used to. So I'm trying to be very brave, but I am afraid. I also have to come clean again. I got a gift card. I got The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. It just looked so good. I read the synopsis. I went and I got it. So you will be seeing this soon. I'm sorry. I told you that there were things that I would allow myself to buy while I'm in my book buying ban. And I'm doing good. I am going through these. I'm going through these books pretty good, and I deserved a little treat. That's why I am trying to be so patient for Project Hail Mary, because I want to read that so bad. And if I really like that one, I'm going to get The Martian too. I need to go ahead and put The Martian on hold though, with how long this one has been going on for. Sorry, it started thundering. It is pretty bright outside. I guess I'm not going to the pool after this. That's fine. I was also recently gifted by my coworker's very generous mom. Wanted in here. A Dune set. This is thick. This is almost 900 pages. This is a chunk. But these are so cool. And that was so nice. I literally have to read them soon because I need to tell my coworker to tell her mom thank you again. That's so nice. I don't know anything about this series other than like a trailer that I saw of one of the recent Chalamet Zendaya movies. I'm going to go into these blind because I've never seen like the old movies either. I've never read the synopsis. So I'm very excited about it. I'm excited not to know anything about it. 900 pages is a lot for me, especially since I've not been reading really thick books. I think the last huge book that I read was It by Stephen King a couple years ago. I read it for Mother's Day because my mom told me it was her favorite book. And so I was putting these little transparent sticky notes in there because it's her copy. And I was writing like things that I was thinking about what was happening and just little messages to her. And then I bring it back for Mother's Day. And she's never read the book. I was gagged. I was so excited. But it's fine. I don't think she's read it yet. But it's fine. I finished it. I did it. So, go me. And she did get me a couple more Stephen King books for Christmas, I think. So, you win some, you lose some. But getting back to it, I have also owned the Witcher series for a very long time. And I have picked the first book up twice. I distinctly remember that the first time I picked it up, I only got like 30 pages in, and then I was like, I don't feel like reading this right now. And then the second time I picked it up, I was like determined, and I only got 100 pages in, and then I forgot that I was even reading it, which happens. It happens. I will put something down and forget everything about it. It's terrible. I've also done that with one of those Colleen Hoover books. I think it was November 9. I got 90 pages into that, and then I was gone. And there's another one, but I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. Anyway, I am determined that the third time's the charm, and I will read that first book this year. I will do it. I will do my best. I'm also wanting to do Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. I know I didn't have a great time reading the Pisces, but I have heard that this one is a lot better than that one, and the Pisces was her debut, so we can only get better, one would assume. And then last one, because I don't want to put too many things on here either, I want to read Silence of the Lambs. One of my favorite movie series is the Andy Hopkins Hannibal series, and I have thrifted the second and third book to that series. Because I'm pretty sure Silence of the Lambs is the first one. But since I thrifted it, I don't want to just go out and buy the first book, because then it's also not going to match, because the other ones are so old. I should probably just borrow it from the library, honestly, at this point, because I have been looking. I've had those books on my shelves for at least 5 years. No joke. And I've not touched them because I don't have the first one. Have to get it. But it just feels like when I finally find it, it's going to be fate. Every time I have seen any kind of Hannibal book, it's always been Hannibal or Hannibal Rising. I want the first one. Put those in the Goodwill. I will find it. I got off topic a couple of times, but this one was really fun. I like just talking. And I hope you liked it too. Thank you so much for being here. And let me know what you are loosely planning to read in the next 6 months. I feel like I have a lot of planned books, and I don't know how well that's going to go for me. But have a wonderful day wherever you are, and thank you for joining me again.